Cross comes in. White with the header. 1-0 England.
And here comes Whitehead. It's gold for Great Britain.
Is it me, Ellen, or do I always dance to that music when it comes on? Is it me?
It's so catchy. It's so catchy.
It is very catchy. It is very catchy. Hi everyone, and yes, we are live today. Track and Ball podcast with myself, Richard Whitehead.
And myself, Ellen White.
And today we want your questions. This is your podcast and we want to hear from you. We want to hear about your concerns about sport, your questions. Get real into the podcast and enjoy our forthcoming guests.
And obviously it's been a little while since we've done a live, so should we do a little life update? What have you been up to, Rich?
Yeah, training wise, Loughborough University, and nice. Just enjoying just getting back into the feeling of training again. Winter's obviously a really tough time for any athlete like yourself outside, just getting the grind done, in a bit of a hole with my training. But starting to feel kind of Paralympics, Olympics obviously next year, starting to get into the groove and building some real strong training blocks moving forwards. What about yourself, Ellen?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. We've had kind of a lot of games, been away with England on an England camp. So we had...
Been away a lot, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been a bit crazy. Obviously, I flew back from Sweden with the team with Man City last night. So yeah, it's been a bit crazy, but it's been good at the same time to play quite a few games. We've got quite a few games now leading into the Christmas break. So it's been good. And obviously, we're in a global pandemic. We're in tier 3, so we can't do too much. But it's been kind of staying inside, getting a coffee when we can, takeaway. And then also we got hit by so much snow. It was crazy last week.
Really? Because you're Manchester, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm just outside, so I'm kind of a little bit in the peaks. So it was mental trying to get home from training, but it was pretty cool to see the snow at the same time as well. So it's just been crazy, but it's been so exciting doing this podcast. And if you haven't already seen our previous guests, they were so lovely, so amazing to have on. And make sure you check out Becky Ellington, Greg Rutherford and Ronnie O'Sullivan, and they gave us some real insights into their careers and also them as people, behind the athletes. I think me and Rich have spoken about it so many times about the conversations and just hearing different stories and different insights and takeaways. And I think definitely, if you haven't seen, listened or watched those ones, head to our YouTube channel, Track and Ball Pod, and also where you find your podcast, because they're really great listens and watches as well.
Yeah, some good takeaways there. But remember, this is your podcast as well. So we want you to say hi, interact with us. And if you're watching via, obviously, YouTube or Facebook or listening to the podcast, we really value your viewpoint. And we take into account who you actually want to be on the show as well. And we try and get those guests and ask them those questions that you want to ask them as well. And the first clip that we want to show you today is somebody that we wanted to get on the show just because he's somebody that's got a story that's very interesting. And I know this person, but I learned a lot about his kind of struggles and some of his mental health issues. And it was great to have Tom Daly on the podcast, and we definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's about never settle for second best. If something is not right, and if your gut tells you that there could be something better, or there could be someone better, or there could be never just let it go by. Have the conversations, have those uncomfortable conversations, because if you have those uncomfortable conversations earlier, it saves all of the headache of now it's gone too far, now I can't say anything. And just being able to have that regular communication, to set boundaries and to set your expectations of where you want to go and how you want to get there. And for me, it's about letting everyone know what my attitude going into an Olympic year is. I am going to do every single thing possible, make every sacrifice, and do anything and everything possible so that when I stand on the diving board at the Olympic Games, I know I've done everything that I physically can, like mentally could, absolutely everything. So I know that I have the best shot at doing my best. And the team that surrounds me, I want them to have that same attitude and that same mentality. And my coach definitely does. And all my team around me does. And I think that surrounding yourself with people that are, have the same attitude and the same mentality as you really helps. Because if you have someone that is slightly half-assing it, then you're only ever going to be as good as your weakest person in your team. So, we need everyone to use their whole ass and not their half ass.
Like clip always makes me laugh. Not only for that end, not just that end bit, but that T-shirt you're wearing is next level.
I was trying to wear something a bit different, but it's a bit too out there. But I'm glad you liked it anyway. But at least I didn't wear those sparkly Speedos. And we do talk about that in the clip. Do you know when he actually had his partner on as well? I thought it was a real nice moment. Like I say, we don't want to give too much away, and you'll really enjoy it. But it was he's definitely a family person. And it comes out in the pod.
Yeah, no, it was really great to chat to him, and he goes in depth of his obsession with knitting as well during lockdown.
You any good at knitting?
I don't think I've ever tried it, to be fair.
Ironing, knitting. I'm not domesticated at all. It's not one of our skills. So we want to look at some of the questions from the viewers or listeners. So if you want to fire in a question, we're happy to take them about obviously forthcoming guests, and I think we've got one on there for you now, Els. Yeah,
Natasha Allen. How do you feel about some teams welcoming fans whilst others can't? I'm a Man City fan. Thank you. I miss coming to the Academy Stadium to see you girls, and also in Tier 3. No, I definitely feel your pain. Do you know what? I think it's amazing that we are able to get fans as spectators in. I know it's probably like 1,000 or 2,000 up and down the country where we can, but I think it is great for those.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great start. Obviously, it is a shame that we're in Tier 3 in Manchester and aren't able to kind of get fans into our Academy Stadium, because we'd love to have you there. But hopefully that will change kind of soon, and in the new year we can kind of have spectators back. But I definitely understand how you're feeling, but also it is exciting, that we are able to start that change and hopefully get more people back into stadiums, especially, in the new year as well.
There's definitely a different feel to professional sport, isn't there, without the fans? When you watch it on TV, and you can either have the fans on, or you can take the fan noise off and have it at the actual stadium noise, and there's nothing. Yeah. And I think the first couple of times I watched that, and I was like, actually, this is quite interesting, because you can get to hear the conversation between players. You can hear tactically sometimes the game a little bit better because of the information that's coming from the bench onto the field of play. But you definitely miss. I get when the crowd noise is, whether it's me competing or it's watching sport, you get really involved in whether it's football or boxing or cricket or athletics. You get right into it, and I think that's part of, especially when you've got those key moments, those real tension moments, it really builds it. And I think without those and without the crowd, it really does take something from it. Have you heard about any more information about when the crowds are going to come to your games, Els, regarding?
I think it all depends, obviously, on the tiers, really. So hopefully we can kind of go to a different tier, and hopefully then we can have fans. But yeah, it all depends, really. But I totally understand what you're saying. When you hear that atmosphere, you hear that crowd, the songs, you get sucked in, and it gives you a lot of emotion. I definitely get goosebumps when you hear that emotion of everyone in the stadium. So yeah, fingers crossed, especially for like Man City, that we can get some fans in soon. But yeah, we can't wait, really.
Another one for you, Ellen. This is an interesting question. We've talked about this, haven't we? We've talked about this. Yes. You need to be honest. You need to be honest now. Go on then. Say the question.
Okay, this is from Dennis Jean Martin. Okay, Ellen, are you hoping to be part of the GB Olympic team? Yes, I'm doing everything I can to hopefully be selected for that team. It was a dream to be part of London 2012 when we had like a women's football team for the first time, kind of going to the Olympics. So yeah, to be involved would be absolutely incredible. It's a tough one because the squad's so small. It's like an 18-person squad, and then 4 kind of reserves or standbys you kind of take with you. So it's tough, but yeah, I'm trying everything. I'm working so hard to hopefully be involved and part of that, because yeah, it's a dream. Like for you, Rich, to go to the Paralympics. It's such an incredible occasion, like a spectacle, and you want to be involved in those major competitions. Yeah, you just want to be involved.
And you're obviously playing with different players at that stage as well, aren't you? You're playing with players not just from England, but also potentially Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales as well.
Yeah.
And is that a different aspect of? Do you thrive on that with new players, or do you find that quite difficult because you've not played with them before? Or how does that work?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting one. To be honest, I think it's exciting. You get to basically you're playing with the best kind of players within kind of Great Britain, so that's what you want to be involved in.
How do you get selected? What's the selection process?
So it's all like the manager basically makes a selection on who he wants to be, and whether
Make sure you send him a Christmas card.
He's on my Christmas card list for sure. Yeah, it's basically his choice from England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and he picks who he believes will be the best squad, really, or the best team.
Would that be?
So that's 18. So that's 18 players, and then 4 extras as well. So yeah, it's exciting. And like, what about you? Like, how are you excited for next year, the summer? Like, how is training going? I know you said it is a bit up and down, but I heard actually something about your coach. Go on, tell us.
Yeah, so I broke a couple of blades, and we talked about that on the last live. But my coach actually went one better. So I was training on Monday. It was a little bit cold. My coach has a lot of layers on, and he comes with me on my sessions on a bike, so a racing bike, because I'm obviously quite fast. A racing bike, and he paces my session. So when I need to run at a certain speed, or when I run a certain distance for time, he'll do that. Anyway, it's a little bit slippery, and we're going about 21, 22 miles an hour. Cranks on the brakes, back end all over the place, and he fell off the bike at 21 miles an hour. Luckily, he's okay. Yeah. Keith Antoine is not in hospital at the moment. He's at home. He might even be watching. I know you're okay, mate, and I do worry about you, but it was very funny. I'd snapped a couple of blades this year, and that wasn't funny, but this was definitely funny.
What's that like? Go on.
No.
I was going to say, what's it like for you running, if it is a little bit, well, I know we've spoken before, like away from the live, but yeah, what's it like for you running on blades? Like, what's your preferred kind of conditions, basically? Hot.
Very hot. I like it hot, hence the reason why we go warm weather training. Hard tracks. Those that don't know what my carbon fibre feet look like, they're just like hamstrings, really. And then I have to compound my feet to be able to get the power from the feet. And it's 56 sheets of carbon fibre, and they really like the warmth. So just working with those in the warmth is, so when it's cold or windy, those kind of conditions, slippy. I've ran in the snow before, it's treacherous. But obviously you have to train for any condition, because coming to Tokyo next year, I'm sure there won't be snow, but coming to Tokyo next year, hopefully the conditions are favourable that I've obviously had to what I've trained in. But selection for me for the games happens actually the World Championships before. So if you're a gold or silver medalist, you've literally guaranteed your place going forwards. You still have to prove form, but you've literally guaranteed your place on the actual the plane going. And then what happens is everybody else has to submit times. So it can be quite stressful if you haven't got your time going into a major games.
Yeah. Right.
Here we go. We've got some hellos here. Hello, Carol.
There's Miss Steph Horton.
Oh, who is she? Have you heard of her?
Who is she? Oh, okay. One more question. Ellen, how about a new celebration for 2021? Okay. Well, if you want to submit what you think that should be,
Good
I'm
idea.
happy to have a look at it.
I'll let you
actually,
read mine if you want.
I maybe adopt Richard's one. I do like it, to be fair. Okay, so we've obviously said and teased Tom Daly. So our next person is James Ellington. Now, it was really lovely to speak to him, hear about his story. You know, he's gone through a lot in his career. Had a really kind of traumatic kind of car accident, motorbike accident. It was crazy to hear about his life, and then also a little bit about the Black Lives Matter movement as well. So here he is.
It's kind of like, unless you are black, it's hard to explain it. It's like the only way I can describe it is
empathy.
Yeah, the only way I can describe it is obviously like, so if yourself having a disability, right? So before I had my crash, I'd have empathy for disabled people and people in wheelchairs, but you don't really know what it feels like. Yeah, so you're like, oh shit, right? I feel it for that guy. Look, he's struggling to get in the door or something because he's in a wheelchair. You think that for a minute, and then it's kind of put aside, right? But it wasn't until I was actually in a wheelchair for 7 weeks myself, and I was trying to get around London. I was thinking, like, then I felt it. I was like, people won't care. They don't care. They're getting in your way. It's hard to get into shops. Like, you're thinking, oh my God. So it's kind of a similar situation being black. I mean, you can explain it to people, but people that aren't black don't really know what that vibe's like. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So yeah, I think we need to speak out on all kind of any situation which has kind of either been put under the carpet like it doesn't exist, or people have been kind of stigmatized, or whatever the case may be for their color, their disability, or whatever the case. So it's a good thing that actually people are speaking out, and actually a lot of people who aren't black are speaking out of it as well, because again, you hear a lot of people say all lives matter. We know all lives matter. That's not what we're talking
That's not
about.
the point. Yeah.
That's not the point. The point is we know all lives matter, but we're saying Black Lives Matter because actually, whether it's in institutions, companies, or just in everyday life, there has been such a kind of disparity. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
those people that don't know and have never heard of James before, obviously an Olympic sprinter, but we're in a time at the moment where a lot of people have to overcome adversity, and James is battling with that every day. He's had major surgery, and also in the podcast he talks a lot about empathy, and obviously highlighted not only about being disabled and being black and also being a different gender within a majority sport, but also talks very emotionally about some of those obstacles that he overcome, and that resonates with some of the challenges that obviously the viewers and listeners will be facing now. And it's something that I definitely would recommend have a listen to and watch, because he's very articulate in how he gives some real key points on how to overcome some of those challenges that you're probably having now. And the mental health aspect of sport, sometimes it's spoken, yes, mental health, but I think he articulates it very well, and he puts it into some good manageable boxes that we can digest. So for me, I know James is a really good guy, but I think that's the side of him that I've not really seen before. So to be able to open up, I know we both came away with it with a new feeling of what sport means to people, especially when you've got those life-changing things in your life.
Yeah, I think that's the right kind of word, is like life-changing, isn't it, really? And like the positivity that he showed throughout kind of his rehab, what he was talking about, yeah, it was really kind of uplifting. And yeah, like you say, Rich, we definitely came away from that like really thinking. It was quite profound, really. So I'm excited for everyone to hear that one.
Yeah, he's based over in Dubai at the moment. He's training for Tokyo, trying to get in the team. Imagine having a life-changing scenario where you think you're going to lose your leg, and maybe then going, oh, I can compete in the Paralympics, and then all of a sudden going, actually his mindset was whatever he's going to do, he's going to be the best. And that resonates with me about when I get up in the morning and have those kind of dark moments through training or whatever. You kind of set those goals, but also you just want to be better, and that's what James is. You look at his Instagram account and you look at his training regime. He's training like a an Olympic gold medalist because he just wants to get on the team and show people and prove to people that you can do anything. And that's a great message, that believe, achieve, and you can do anything in life. So some more questions from you guys. We've always got some really interesting questions. So this one, I'll ask you, Ellen, okay? Dale Hudson, okay. Do either of you have any pre-game race rituals or superstitions? You can answer this one first, though.
Okay. I did have quite a lot growing up. I've had to kind of change a little bit. Cause just
90 minutes of them?
Yeah, just it just went on and on and on. So I've had to kind of change that a little bit. So I tend to put like my right kind of sock on, shin pad, then boot, and then left. I kind of stick to the same like pre-match. I don't know. Just it's just something that's kind of stuck with me really. And then I just always have porridge for my pre-match. They're kind of the simple ones. What about you?
Did you ever score a goal or a hat trick, and then you go, right, I'm doing everything that I've just done, and then the next game it go like
when Pete Tong, no, you do have those moments because you'll look back and be like, right, what did I do throughout the day? Like, how long did I sleep? What did I get up? What did I have for breakfast? What did I wear? Like, you start to kind of mess with your own head, and it just gets too much. Mentally draining, tiring, right? Really tiring. So I think it's just a few for me now, which I kind of just stick to, and they're pretty easy. Like, you're gonna pretty much do them every time. But if I don't put my right boot on and put my left on first, that's not the reason why I play awful.
Trip over do you know what I mean?
That's not the reason. But sometimes your mind does crazy things. So like, what are your rituals then before a race?
If you read Wikipedia, it's that I wear the same underpants before each race.
Okay, that's not true.
No, not anymore. I did it for a couple of marathons, and like back in the day, my marathon time was like 4 hours, and they were getting a bit stinky and holes in them and stuff. So I couldn't recycle them.
Have you washed them between races?
Well, obviously, but so that one doesn't exist anymore.
Okay,
So I've got a visualization one, which is visualization's great for performance sport, life in general, any of those kind of jobs or kind of things you've got going on. So the day before a major race, I'd have a bath and kind of visualize my whole either marathon or 200 meters and go through my whole mental process of how I'm going to feel, what I'm going to look like. So from outside and then go through my race. And obviously, if it was a marathon, I wouldn't go through the whole 2.5 hours of marathon. But I'd go through like the first 5K, first 10K. And I'd get to the finish point, but I'd never actually visualise going through the finish line.
Okay.
And I do the same with my 200 metres. But obviously, it's more, with my 200 metres, it's more about the intensity. So just getting the intensity right and making sure that I'm really fired up for my event. And then after I have my bath, then I just kind of set out all my gear out in a way that I put it on. So all my clothes to my running legs, etc., will be all in a line in the hotel, on the hotel floor. Which, if you're sharing with them, is a nightmare because literally I take up the whole floor, and then that's how I put all my clothes or put all my equipment on. And it's kind of the same with my eating as well. I have to eat it in a certain way. Very similar to you with having a certain meal. Like before a marathon, I'd eat spaghetti. Imagine eating spaghetti before a marathon. Yeah, like 4 in the morning.
I was literally going to say, you're not eating that in the morning.
Yeah, about 4 in the morning. So we'd get up. You'd get up with the elite athletes, and it'd be all dry food, and mine would be like spaghetti. There'd be the Ethiopian guys, the Kenyan guys eating this, and I'm like, I'm going to try some of that. And I ran really well, and it stuck with me. Marathon running, I definitely don't get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, but I do have a meal that I prefer before a 200 meters, and it's not meat because I feel that meat kind of sits in my system, and I like to be kind of as light as possible.
Go on, there's another question for you.
Adam Holland. So I know Adam. Adam's a brilliant marathon runner, and when I mean a brilliant marathon runner, he's ran, and I don't know how many you've run up to the moment, Adam, but it's over 100. It's definitely over 100.
Wow.
Yeah, probably 170, 200 marathons.
That's
But
crazy.
I remember, before I answer this question, I remember we did some 400 metre training in Lanzarote. And I whooped his ass. I did. I whooped his ass. And he'll probably say different, but I definitely did. Okay, Adam, your question. Would you consider doing multiple days of marathons again?
Go on, tell everyone. Go on, yeah, tell everyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, I ran Land's End to John O'Groats, so I ran 40 marathons in 40 days. And yeah, it was tough. Tough mentally as well as physically. Imagine doing the same thing for 40 days. And for me, it was a case of I just had to get up and I just had to run and then sleep. But even that, it was tough. And it was lucky that I had some really cool people that I run with. I did it for charity, I did it for Sarcoma UK, did it for Scout, raised a lot of awareness, a lot of money. Would I do it again? I'd love to do a massive challenge, and I'm open for ideas. I've got one that I'd really like to do that I'm not going to mention at the moment, but I'd really like to do. But you've got to buy into it. You've got to do it for the right reason. And I think for me, obviously, when I finish sport, it's about replacing that desire and that determination that I've got now to kind of be successful into doing something else. And whether that's in full-time employment or whether that's mentoring, but I'll always want to look for a challenge. Multiple day marathons. Let's see.
This is what I'd love to. So Steve Smith, appreciate this one. Richard, is your name down for I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of It 2021? Back in the jungle, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people would like to see me eating some of the stuff that's consumed in the jungle, and obviously the castle this time. What an opportunity that would be for anybody. I know somebody that's on this as well would like it as well. Do you reckon your other half would let you go on I'm a Celebrity?
Absolutely. He's probably put my name forward. He's put my name forward for that. I'll be all over that. Yeah, I'd definitely love that. It would be a challenge completely out of my comfort zone. Yeah, that's the one that
mentally as well. I think. Do you have any fears that you think you'd have to address if you went on that?
I'm not mentioning them at the moment, so.
Heights, spiders, snakes.
Yeah, I'm not scared of anything. No, I'm absolutely fine. I love all creatures.
Yeah, and I think it's a great opportunity, isn't it? It's a great opportunity. It's a great platform. I think the only thing that I find with that show and shows generally, and it does frustrate me as a person with a disability, is that I feel that you really need to utilise that platform and do it for the greater good.
Yeah.
And for me, that would be to inspire and liberate people that are less fortunate than myself. It's not about disability or different gender or whatever. It's about giving people that opportunity. Would you say so?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. That's the perfect thing, really, isn't it? Shouldn't everyone be doing that?
Mark Charlotte, who's that guy? Hey, Mark
No
Charlotte.
idea.
Richard, your wife says that your pre-race ritual is being grumpy. No, that's all the time. I'm literally, that's my mum.
Just 20.
My mum, Geraldine Whitehead, grumpy.
Oh, hi. Hi, Mum.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've never been grumpy. Look, this is me, happy, smiley, always motivated.
24/7? 24/7, yeah.
That's a Red Bull, right? That's a Red Bull. That's Red Bull. So, shall we go into another guest, or shall we talk about I'm a Celebrity? What do you want to do first?
I'm a celebrity. No, I'm joking. Go on. Let's preview.
Okay, Max Whitlock.
In 2015, at the beginning of the year, I got glandular fever. That took me out for a period of time. I had to build back up to that. I lost a bit of confidence. And from that moment onwards, my training it could never be the same. It couldn't be the same. I couldn't just go in the gym and work as hard as I could because my body wouldn't handle it. So for me, it was a real phase of learning my body again. And, I was not far out from Olympics. and all I wanted to do was be in the gym training, so I couldn't. So going into Olympics, I don't feel like I was in that prime conditions that I could have potentially been in. But in terms of results, 100% it all clicked, which was just like, it still feels surreal today. That it just like, it doesn't feel like that was kind of me in that position there.
The national anthem twice in one day. And then but you must have been just pinching yourself the first time. You know what I mean? You've done all that 4 years worth of work to then stand at the top of the podium. Like I did it in London, and I was like, what is going on? I did out of body experience.
You won a medal at London 2012?
I did, yeah, I won one. I won't tell you what colour, but I won one.
He never talks about it.
I never talk about it a lot. Wait a minute.
Here we go.
Max Whitlock, that was a great conversation, wasn't it? And the thing is, though, Max is so shy, and 2 gold medals. So that life-changing moment. Not talking about sport, we're talking life-changing moment. So I did some work with Max at Goodwood Festival a year before, and he said he wanted a gold medal. He said that's what he trained his life for, and then within an hour he'd won 2 gold medals. So he'd beaten Lewis Smith, who was a favourite for his event, also dominated his first event, and 2 gold medals, and it's literally his life changed overnight, just like that. And that's what sport can do. Yeah. No, how did you find the messaging in that podcast? I think it was, again, for somebody that's so shy, I think he came across really well, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was really interesting to hear like how he started in gymnastics as well. Like you say, Rio 2016, and also he had a pretty crazy year, like he said before that. Injuries, and obviously he was poorly in the lead up to Rio. He also spoke about being a dad, which has gone viral actually at the moment, with him doing a somersault with his
have you seen that?
Yeah.
that is pretty impressive. I don't think his missus was too impressed.
She can't have been.
I'll try that with one of my kids. I'm not sure they'd be too happy with me doing that.
And also he was trying to teach you, he was trying to help you with your handstand as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's not gone too well, to be honest. I think lockdown, I just kind of got sick of it. I needed actually Max probably to show me, and then to kind of support me, and then me to kind of cheat some kind of like a picture with me doing it, but actually me still standing on the floor, because it's not going too well. I can do handstands, and I used to be in a gymnastics club, but one hand handstand when you're 44 years old, the shoulders.
Nah, you've got that. You've got that. You do all the kick stuff in the gym, though, don't you?
I know. I'm trying. I'm just very trying. That's what it is. I'm just very trying. And I think I can't remember. 2016, was Max nominated for sports personality? I don't think he was he?
I'm not sure,
because it was too late. But we want to kind of talk about like sports personality, and on the 20th of December, there's 6 people nominated for sports personality. So obviously they brought the numbers down, and so there's Stuart Board, there's Jordan Henderson, Tyson Fury, Lewis Hamilton, Holly Doyle. Doyle. Sorry. I've not actually heard of Holly before. I've done a bit of research, and she's obviously a champion jockey. She broke her own world record. She broke her own record this year of winners. Won at Ascot, as well as obviously somebody that we've had on the show as well, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Mr. Ronnie.
Yeah, at 45, he's never won it, even though 6 times world champion.
Has he ever been up for it?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
That's crazy for what he's achieved in his career as well. Crazy.
It is crazy, and those that haven't heard the Ronnie podcast, that's a great listen. Again, hardly talk about snooker, more talk about his crazy lifestyle. And when we look at that awards as well, it's sports personality. Do you need to be winning and boring? Because Ronnie in the podcast says when he's boring, he's most happiest. So I don't know whether you need to be boring or not. But if you've got any questions about maybe some of the athletes that are missed off sports personality, then maybe fire those over if you're listening to us, obviously fire over those questions as well. When I looked at the nominees as well, for me, obviously we spoke to Ronnie. I think he's great. Lewis Hamilton again, 6 times world champion. I'm not sure about some of the other guys, but I think you've got to be doing it over time to get that award. That award's, there's been so many people that have won that. You look at the people that have won that over time, and I think footballers, you need to maybe have won World Footballer to get that Sports Personality Award for me.
Yeah, potentially. It'd be really cool to hear who's listening.
There's only
today.
one female athlete as well. No Paralympians in the list. Obviously, Paralympic sport, a little bit of a lull last year, so I can understand that. But only one female athlete in the 6. I don't know what your views are.
She's doing great to represent like female athletes and obviously jockeys as well.
And she's the youngest as well. She's only 24.
So that's an amazing achievement for her as well. So
so just to be nominated.
To get the recognition as well. But yeah, like 2020 has been a crazy year, hasn't it? So and Sports Personality of the Year is always a really kind of exciting one to watch as well.
I think more it should be more of a celebration of the platform that sport gives you, like the Marcus Rashford work that he's done to highlight the poverty in children, and I'm sure that he'll be getting a special award for that, and the work that Joe Wicks has done. But there has been some great performances obviously the pandemic, with like Tyson Fury knocking out Deontay Wilder. I'm a big boxing fan, and that was the second fight was awesome. I know there's a lot of boxing fans that are out there and that follow myself and you, and that's an interesting sport in lockdown. I don't know if you've seen any boxing with no audience participation. It's just like 2 people street fighting.
Yeah, that'd be very strange. I've got a question actually. Simon Berry, it's only ever the big sports get recognition for sports personality. 7 times. Hamilton now, Rich. There you go.
Okay, cheers. Yeah, and that is true. And I think the problem with that, because it's a voting award, and their big following gets behind it, and I think it sometimes loses the real reason why they're voted onto that in the first place, and that's because it's a great sporting achievement. And I think sports achievement should come into it, but also the personality. And I think personality as in how you interact with your community, how you what community impact you have, and maybe that's why Marcus Rashford should be one of the 6, because of the great work he's done and continues to do. Him and his team, obviously, because we all know that the athletes have a big team around them supporting those messaging.
Yeah, definitely. I think he is.
What about in the women's game? What about in the women's game as well? If you've got any shining lights that have done a lot of work on and off the field over the last 12 months?
I don't know, because it's
don't
just been
say no. Don't say no.
No, obviously that has. I'm just saying, it's just been a really strange year, hasn't it? And obviously, Marcus Rashford was a big one in terms of just what he done across the country, and with the government as well. So he is getting a special award. I'm just trying to think of a woman footballer or just women in general. But to be honest, I'm Holly Doyle. I've done a little bit of research, and just it is really amazing to see what she's achieved and to get that in the spotlight. I think that's an incredible achievement and something that she should be really proud of, to be honest. And I'm excited to watch it, to be honest. I'm excited to hear what everyone else thinks, who's going to win, who else do they think should be nominated. Really, really great to hear, to be honest.
And on the Paralympic side, with Dave Weir, multi-medalist at London 2012, he's got his Weir Academy, and through lockdown, following his work and his he promotes disability sport in a great way. This year, obviously through lockdown, encouraging people with impairments to take up wheelchair racing, and himself being a high-level athlete as well, racing all over the world. And obviously did London Marathon, and yes, he didn't win it, he was second, but I think a mention on the Paralympic side for Dave would be would be great. Hopefully they'll have some footage of that at Sports Personality, which I'm sure they will. So who kind of guys then fire some names out to me? Who do you reckon it should be on the list? Ellen White, Richard Whitehead. No, I've not done anything this year.
Me neither.
We talked about that before. I can see a hot streak coming. I can see a hot streak coming for club and country, right?
Fingers crossed. That's the dream, isn't it?
What do people need to do if they want to follow us, Ellen?
Yeah, so no, we really appreciate everyone's support. Actually, we've released obviously Becky Adlington, Greg Rutherford, and Ronnie O'Sullivan. So if you head over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, which is Track and Ball Podcast, and also wherever you find your podcasts, whether that's Apple Podcasts, make sure you listen, and also give us a review or a rating. That would be great as well. We would really, really appreciate that. But yeah, on our socials, we're Track and Ball Pod, and we've said before in the lives. We want to hear from you. This is kind of your podcast as well. We want to hear who you'd love to have. We'd have on guests, also questions. So when we do have a guest line up, we want to hear questions as well. What you want us to ask them as well. So it makes our job a lot easier when we're talking to them to hear what you guys want to hear as well.
And also, then the guest feels like you're engaging with them, and this is what we're trying to do with the guests as well, asking those questions that they've never been asked before, those questions that they're dying to put out there but not able to do because some of the media that they've had to do before is very prescriptive. And we've had it before where they just ask you about the same questions, whether it's goals, whether it's medals, where we want to know more about the feelings and how to overcome some of those real challenges, that then we can learn those lessons in life. And we know that toolkit that a professional athlete has is transferable in life and in business. And as myself and Ellen obviously move through our careers, we'll be looking to obviously move into, when the big retirement comes, that we've been obviously wanting to move into other careers as well. And we want to know from you what kind of tools that they've got that you can maybe learn from. So no, thanks for everybody for your support. It's been a great couple of months, and we really value your support, whether that's listening, whether that's viewing on YouTube or Facebook. And feel free to fire those questions in, and thanks again.
Cross comes in. White with the header. 1-0 England.
And here comes Whitehead. It's goal for Great Britain.